The Ryan Ries Show from Southern California. This is The Ryan Ries Show. Post your questions using @RyanReese on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Are you ready?
All right. Well, this show has been, I've been waiting to do this show for many, many years. I mean, it has to be over 6 years. I've been trying to get this man, myth, legend in studio. It's Jesser Gaona. He's now, and has been for many years, an ambassador for the Whosoevers movement in Mexico. He's a local, born and raised here in Cuernavaca, Mexico, and which is right outside of Mexico City, about maybe an hour depending on traffic here, but it's up in the mountains. It's referred to or named the Eternal Spring. Pretty much perfect weather. It's kind of where the whole like poolside hanging out, carne asada vibes have come from. It's the place to be. And Jesser is also affiliated and on staff with Semilla Cuernavaca, which he's a pastor. He's oversaw the Bible school here, taught the youth, still does, and over the years got involved in outreach. So naturally, the Whosoevers movement kind of fell in line with the senior pastor, lead pastor here, and Jesser. And I do want to get into this revival that has been happening in Mexico with the Whosoevers and the Calvary Chapel. Semilla is part of Calvary Chapel, the Calvary Chapel churches globally. They are a Calvary Chapel. They just go under Semilla. Now, I do want to talk about this, and I want you guys to tune in to this show, because this is going to teach you guys, disciple you on how to do outreach and to see what God is doing. But we've seen here all through Mexico, we've been to 17 states with the Whosoevers. We've seen close to 65,000 students give their life to Christ. We have toured all over and just seen amazing things with God doing. We've led many mayors to the Lord, probably at least 6 mayors, government officials, teachers, principals, just seeing amazing things down here. But we didn't just come down to Mexico and then it all just like happened. There was a process, and I know a lot of people that are listening that want to go out and do missions and go on missions trips and see God move. You're praying about going to different areas. So we're going to give you guys an insight of how the process works to seek after God, to know His will and His purpose for your life and where He wants you to go, and to see where He's leading and where He's not leading. Because if the doors are closed, then clearly God's closing the door, but that means that there's going to be another door that's open that God wants you to go through. As in, when I talk about doors, I'm talking about not only countries to go to, places to be in ministry, or even doors that are going to open to lead you to do ministry in a certain place. Like, is it through the church? Is it through an outside resource of a person in the church, or a government official, a teacher? Which person is God highlighting that He's using a door to the next door to the next door to get you to the place where He wants the gospel to go forth? And that's what we're going to talk about today. This is Book of Acts stuff. Like, this isn't like, oh, you know, this guy's talking about all this random stuff. No, this is like Book of Acts stuff, where God leads and He uses different people to bring in your path to open doors for where He wants to place the gospel. So, Jesser, thank you for being in studio with us. Oh, and by the way, we're here in Acapulco, Mexico, at the Calvary Chapel CCA conference here in Acapulco, Mexico. So they're having all the pastors come in from the whole country, and we're going to talk about what God's doing also here and continue to do ministry. We've been doing it since 2018 to 2024, and we have not stopped. And you're here planted in Mexico, and you're continuing to do the tours, even when we're not here. So you're a native, and you're continuing to bring the Great Commission. So thanks for being in the studio.
First of all, I have no idea what you said.
Let's get a translator.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it has been an amazing ride, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
it has been crazy. As you were talking, I was trying to remember how did it start everything. And you know what? The beginning of all this crazy stuff that we have been living on the past years, I think it starts in weakness. Because I remember I met you at a conference, probably 2018 in Golden Springs.
Yep.
I went with you and I was like, hey, hi, how are you? I'm Jesser from Mexico. And we were talking, I say, hey, what do you think? We should do something in Mexico.
Yeah.
It will be cool. At that point, I don't know if you know this, but one guy from the church, he told me like, hey, we have access to all the schools in Morelos, in the state of Morelos.
We're here in Mexico or
Here in Mexico,
Really?
Yeah. He told me.
Oh,
so
I remember that, yeah.
I believed to him. So I went with you and I was like, hey, we have access to a lot of schools. And you say like, yeah, let's do it. So I returned, I talked to the guy and he just, I don't know, like freak out. Probably about...
The whosoevers are going to come down and he's like, I don't have access anymore.
No, yeah. He was like, no, you have to make some papers. And he started like washing his hands. And I was, oh no, come on. So then you went to Fermin's church.
Yep, Fermin, which is in Mexico City.
Yeah, and we talked and we were like, let's do it. And yeah,
is that what happened? I ended up speaking at Fermin's church.
Yeah.
And then we met again there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I write you and you were like, yeah, come on, let's hang out. So I went, we hang out a little bit, and then I returned and I was like in my home like, okay, we're gonna do it, some whosoevers event. How?
I want to give a little background with Mexico. So Mexico is built on an atheist government, and obviously there's a lot of Catholicism here. They worship the dead. There's a lot of religion, religion practices, but you are not, because it's an atheist government, you are not allowed to talk about God whatsoever in the churches or inside schools at all.
No.
It's worse than America. Like America, you could do it in the Bible clubs. They don't. You can't do that in schools in Mexico.
No.
So it's crazy.
Never.
This is impossible.
Yeah. No, it's not possible. We haven't seen it. So we were like, how we're gonna do it? So I print some of the stuff of the whosoevers of the website, like the vision and the mission, and I just have my copies, and I grab my car and I go to the schools and just knock the doors with the principals and start like, hey, do you want the whosoevers? Hey, do you want a conference? And one lady, a principal of one of the schools, I'm very glad of her because she told me like, you know what you are showing me, it's really cool. I really like, but it's not possible that we're gonna allow you to do this. Like, why not? And that's because of what you were saying. Like, in Mexico, you cannot mix religion and the schools. And if you do that, I'm gonna lose my job. So I'm not gonna do it. And you won't find any school that will do that. But at that point, you still coming. We bought the flights and everything, and I was like, okay, we don't have any school. We don't.
All the flights, the whole thing was happening, and nothing.
Everything.
And I remember you telling me, you're like, at one point, you're like, hey, this guy backpedaled, and we were like, all right, well, let's just pray. The guy washed his hands, he backed out. So now let's just pray and see if it's gonna happen or not.
Yeah.
What God wants to do. So what'd you guys end up doing?
I got discouraged. At some point,
That's normal.
I was in my car, like, crying. Oh, why I have to do this? Why is not my pastor knocking some doors? Why I have to do this?
Yeah.
And then later that day, Krista, the wife of my pastor, she came with me and she asked me like, hey, how is everything going with the planning of the whosoevers? And I was like, we don't have anything. Wait. Yeah. Because that day I was so mad, I was crying, and as I joke for myself, I don't know if you remember this, I went to a Catholic school full of nuns, and I was like, the only place that will allow us to do a whosoever event is with nuns. So for a joke for myself, I knocked on the door. They open, I showed the flyer and everything, and they say yes.
Yeah. The nuns.
So the only school that we had was of nuns. Of nuns. So in the night when Krista asked me, hey, how is everything going? I tell her, we only have one school and it's of nuns.
It's a Catholic school of nuns.
Yeah. And believe me, I was praying, I was fasting. I was like, come on, Lord, come on. And she said, okay, we need to pray as a church. So that night, the whole church started praying, start like on fire, like, Lord, do a miracle, do a miracle. So in the morning of the next day, I received a message from one director from the government. He's like the main guy of the youth.
He's the director of the youth for all of the state.
Yes.
For the government.
Yeah.
All youth programs that go into schools and everything in and outside of school.
Yeah, because one lady in the church, she listened, she prayed, and she knew him.
Dude.
So she made a connection.
The door opened.
Yeah. So I received the message of him.
So one door, you're going knocking on doors, there's no doors open.
No.
The door that opens is the nun.
Yes.
You go and you tell the senior, the lead pastor's wife, hey, the only door is the nuns. Then she's like, the next door, we need to have the whole church pray. Mm-hmm. And then she hears, and the next door opens with, see the doors?
Yeah.
The doors, by faith.
Yeah.
None of it made sense though.
No, not even at that point, okay?
Yeah.
So I went with him, I presented the project, and he was like, I'm completely in. You need to go with me. I'm gonna introduce you. I'm gonna make like a meeting with all the main youth guys of all the state, and you're gonna present this conference, and we'll see what happened.
Wow.
So
Diego.
No, it was Pablo. It was
Pablo,
before.
it was before Diego.
It was before Diego. Oh. So then we had that meeting. I present Kill the Noise, and all the guys were like, we totally in, and they start fighting. No, I want it. I want it
first.
I want it first. And then they decide, okay, we're gonna decide which cities are gonna have the events.
Right.
Of how many kids you can have in the schools, right? If you have too much, we're gonna give like a priority. So they were talking like, I have 600, I have 800, and I was like in the meeting like, like my mind was blowing.
God just opened the doors.
God just opened the doors, and then
okay, guys, remember this. This is illegal to do. This is against the law to do this in Mexico. And now he's sitting at the table with all these government officials, all the leaders, and now they're fighting over bringing Jesus into the schools. Amazing.
That's crazy.
So the door's
right?
open. And then we even contacted Fermin, which he was a big hip hop artist in the 90s, which now he got re-signed by Sony, and he's actually still doing music and traveling and doing stadium events. But we brought him out on tour with us. Mm-hmm. And that was also a treat for the government too, or for the schools, to have this guy that had this huge song. It was like in a Levi commercial, and it was like, massive. Everybody knew that song. It's like still an anthem in Mexico. So anyway, we went out and we started booking the schools, right? So let's give people a little bit more background. What do those tours look like? The dates. I mean, was it a school a day, or how did all that pan out?
I remember it was like two schools per day. Mm-hmm. It was a short one because we were...
The first one was the launch.
The first one was, we were just learning, right?
Yeah.
I have never done events in my life.
Yeah.
So I was just learning, like, what do we have to do? So we put 2 schools per day. I think it was like 2 days, and then some church service event, and then a skate contest. Mm-hmm. I remember at that point, I was like, how we're gonna do a skate event? And we didn't have even a skate park in Cuernavaca at that point.
That's right.
So because we were with the government, I was like, hey, can you borrow us like a venue or something like that? And they gave us stairs in the main plaza of Cuernavaca.
Right. So right in the main downtown like square where people hang out. You got all the restaurants. You got the performance. It's just like the main square. They have these plazas down here in different parts of the state, in the cities. But it was like these perfect ground with a perfect set of stairs, and then the local skaters made a handrail too.
Yes.
So it came with a built-in audience. Not only for the skateboard community, but you had all these other people, and it turned into a whole amazing skate contest. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was.
It's better than a skate park.
Yeah, because all the people were.
It was amazing.
And then after that, we went to the church. Some of the kids of the skate event, they went to the church. I remember one guy was with his sweater with all the pot, like the marijuana,
all the weed leaves,
all the weed. But it was his birthday, and we were all the church singing happy birthday to him, and he was like shocked. And yeah, that was pretty much the first tour.
That was the first tour of the launch. So then we went back, and we just, and by the way, we were seeing kids coming to God, like just like seas of kids. I'm talking like thousands, you get, and these are all mandatory assemblies. So it could be 2,000 kids, it could be 1,000 kids, it could be 800. But literally, when you're calling the response to have them to receive Jesus Christ, and we're giving the full gospel, they're sinners, saved by grace. God wants to fill you with the Holy Spirit, and He'll show you your purpose, your identity in Christ. And they're struggling with depression, anxiety, suicide, broken homes, abuse, alcoholism, all the stuff that's happening globally. And they're just coming forward, and we're just praying over them. So then we go back, and we're like, that was just incredible. We got to get back.
But you know what?
What?
At that moment, it was 6 years ago. So we changed a president. Just like right now, we changed a president of the whole country. All the government changed. So we don't have any connections again. We lost everything.
Oh, got it. Because they're all new people.
All new people.
Oh, shoot.
But so I was like, you called me like, hey, we should do another tour. And I was like, yeah, completely. So now how? Again.
We have no connections again.
Again. So I went to the office, and they don't receive me. Like, it was like, yeah, leave your information. We will call you. And I was like, oh. So I went to the parking.
You should have wore a suit and tie. You're going up with tattoos, the way you look,
I know. So I went to the parking lot, and the secretary of the last director, she saw me, and she was like, hey, what you're doing here? And I was like, hey, I came to the office to talk with the principal, but I don't. Oh, no. I make the connection. Come on, because she loved what we did.
No way. Again.
So she connected me with the new director, Diego.
That was Diego.
And Diego was Christian. So he allowed us to go to the whole state.
So the first guy was not a Christian.
No, not a Christian.
Not a Christian. No. And now the next director was a Christian.
Yeah. But we didn't know, right?
No, we didn't know.
So we did the whole state.
We did, we were doing, at that time, I think we were doing like 4 schools a day.
Yeah.
Plus like an evening event at a local church or something. It was insane. I mean, I remember we made a movie about this. And we'd come back to there's a scene in the movie where we come back to the hotel and we just fall on our face in the lobby.
Oh no, that's Puebla.
Oh, that was Puebla?
That's not even.
Well, that's the way we felt in that tour too.
Yeah.
All these Mexico trips have been intense. The amount of the fruit and the people coming to the Lord.
Yeah, and at that moment we just keep going. Like
I get confused because we've done 120 schools here, roughly.
Yeah, probably more.
Maybe more, yeah.
So anyway, we did 3 tours here in Morelos.
Okay.
Right. And after that, I thought like, okay, we just cover the whole state.
Right.
That's it. Not more whosoevers, right?
Really quick about Morelos. During those trips, didn't the teachers ask your guys' church to come in?
Oh, yeah.
Come in and start teaching the Bible?
Yeah. Because after the whosoevers event, we keep going to the schools,
yeah.
Right? And we were like, hey, we're the whosoevers, we are collaborating with them, we are the church. And they say, oh, you know what? Because of the kids are dealing with depression, anxiety, self-harm, everything, we need help. We need something for these kids. So they allowed us to give discipleship to the kids in their classrooms. But again, it's illegal.
It's illegal.
But because
you're teaching the Bible.
Yeah.
You're discipling, you're teaching the Bible in a classroom at the schools on the campuses now.
Yeah.
And that is completely illegal.
They choose like the messy kids in the school, like, and they were like,
you guys take them. Perfect.
Because we don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
And we're like, well, sure.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
So we start giving to them like, discipleship, and at one point it was every single day. We were going to some of the schools, and I don't know how much time that happened, but it was long. But
it's continuing. It's continuing because that was that year, but we've continued to tour. We went to, we went to Puebla, then we went to Durango. Where else did we go?
Yeah, after the schools in Morelos, then Durango happens.
Durango.
Yeah.
Tell us about Durango. Well, I can tell you this about Durango. I was backstage at a concert, POD concert in Anaheim or in Orange County, Costa Mesa, at what theater was that? I forget what they call that theater now. But I was backstage and this girl comes up to me and she's like, hey, my name's Marcela. I'm from Durango, Mexico. I want to get you. I've been talking to Sonny because we were at a POD concert. I want to get you to come out to go to the schools. She's like, I work with the government, and I can get you into all the schools. So we're like, all right, let's test that out. But that trip was crazy.
That trip was also crazy, and it was like, again, everything is new. We don't have any connections with anybody in there. I mean, Marcela. But at the same time, she was like, how? And I was like, you know what? At this point, there's not a way. Because every time the Lord do it,
it's different.
It's
different.
And because here we did it with the youth department from the government.
Right.
But over there, she did it in a so different way.
She was on her cell phone. I remember we had a van, like a 10-passenger van, and we were in there driving. She's on her cell phone. And like school would get canceled, because some schools would get canceled along the way because they're talking about Jesus, cancel them, and then another door would open. But then I remember her being on her cell phone, and she's like, "Oh, I got another school. We're going." And she was booking schools as we're in the van driving.
Yeah,
it was so wild. I mean, even going back to like, I don't know if it was Cuernavaca or Puebla, but where was it when there was one of the ladies that worked for the schools, and she was going to school trying to cancel us.
Oh, it was Puebla.
That was Puebla.
Yeah.
And I remember we had like 35 schools. We had like 35 schools booked, and after the first 2 schools, they were trying to pull the microphone out of her hand, turn off the volume, even to one point where they turned off the volume, and I just yelled to the whole crowd. I said, if you want Jesus, come forward and I'm going to pray for you. And you translated it, and the whole school came forward.
Yeah, they started screaming. You remember?
Without the microphone. And I told them, I said, say this out loud. And then the whole tour, then all 35 schools, in the first day, we had a bunch of schools, but then after the second school, all 35 schools got canceled in 1 minute. And then we go, what are we going to do? All the schools are canceled now. Now we have no tour, and we're here for 10 days. So I go, hey guys, this is also in the movie. I go, hey guys, we're all skateboarders. So we're like, let's just go to the skate park and skate. Let's just see what God's going to do. And then we got another like 40 schools booked within a couple hours.
But that's what I love about that, because In the Puebla tour, we didn't do it with the government. We tried to replicate what we were doing, like in Morelos.
Yeah.
And the Lord says, no, you're not gonna do it in the same way. Mm-hmm. We're like, now how? Because our formula, it's from government.
The formula, yeah. There's no formula.
There's no formula. So he said, no, now you're gonna do it school by school, and the principal's gonna open the doors so you can go. And it was amazing. It was a really cool
I get a lot of this all mixed up because there's so many schools and it's all Mexico. So it's like a lot of it looks similar, you know, with the way the schools look and all that. But I mean, I remember to a point that we pulled up in front of the school and then like someone ran in and asked the principal, hey, can we do the assembly? And they're like, yeah, go ahead and come in. We're like, we're doing an assembly here right now. Yeah. All right, unpack. It's like, that's how wild it was on these trips. Mind blowing. And I want to stop really quick and kind of hone in on something. You said there's no formula.
Yeah.
And the formula is the killer when doing ministry. The formula, you know, we've heard Chuck Smith say over and over in his Bible studies, what's the difference, and I've said this over and over, I keep always quoting him, what's the difference between a rut and a grave? It's only the depth and the width. It's the same thing. Getting stuck in a rut. You know, a rut's like a tire if you do a burnout and you get in a rut, you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
Or a grave, you know, you're in the ground. But in ministry, you can't get in a rut in a grave. You can't, a formula could put you in a rut. And like, this is the way it has to be done. This is the way we've done it. This is the way we've always done it. We've done it like this for years. Look at what happened in Cuernavaca. It worked. This is the formula. We even stopped bringing a performer.
Yeah.
We had Fermin, which was a hip hop artist, a big hip hop artist. We went to the simplicity of just having a playlist of music and then speaking. We got rid of that whole thing, so we didn't get stuck in a rut.
And if that's not enough, then COVID arrived, right?
Huh?
If that's not enough, then COVID arrives.
Then COVID arrives.
Because we were like, at that point, it was, we don't have any formula, but we know how to do it.
Yeah.
But then everything shut down.
Then the formula we had was like, the COVID literally, as you guys know, completely shut down the whole world. And especially in other countries. Like there was parts in America, like obviously the super liberal parts, like the blue states, like California, New York, Hawaii, different states like that were very shut down. But then you go to Arkansas, Nevada, you know, Idaho, all these other states, Texas, they were open, right? But I noticed south of the border, they were very, it was extreme. And for a long period of time where you had to have a proof of a vaccine card just to travel into the country and even out of the country, even like 3 years after COVID, like we were in Chile and you still had to have proof of that. So you guys were very strict on it. So it shut down everything more than ever.
All the schools shut down. So we were like, now what we're gonna do it? How?
How are we gonna do it?
How? Again and again and again, every single time.
How do we get in front of the kids?
Yes.
So what'd you do? Oh, wait a minute. We're already at the end of the first break here. We have to go into the second break. You know, time flies when you're having fun over here. All right, so check it out. I want you guys to look up Jesser. You're on social media. If you just go to the Whosoevers social media, you'll find him. He's up there. He's also runs the Whosoevers Mexico on Instagram. Go to thewhosoevers.com. Look us up. Contact us. We will come to any state, any country. We've been to India. We're going to Africa. Obviously all over the United States, all over South America. Central America just opened up. Europe is opening up. So we're going wherever God guides. Where God guides, God provides. It's all an act of faith. It's a step of faith. You might say to yourself, how in the heck can I get these guys over here? And how can all the provision happen? God. But God, he can do whatever he wants. And all he's doing is looking for whose hearts that are fully committed. And he will strengthen you and he will provide. We'll be back in 2 minutes, right after the break, with Jesser continuing to talk about a revival in Mexico.
More of The Ryan Ries Show coming up. Post your questions at Ryan Ries on his Instagram, Twitter, and or Facebook. to the Ryan Ries Show.
All right, we are jumping back in this wild Mexico revival show. If you guys are just tuning in and you missed the first half, I suggest you highly go to ryan-ries.com to my website and get this show. It's with Jesser. How do you say your last name? Because I don't want to mess it up.
Jesser Gaona.
Gaona. Jesser Gaona. He's an ambassador for the Whosoevers movement. Also part of he's part of Calvary Chapel movement, but their church, they call it a semilla, which is seed.
Yeah.
The seed here in Mexico. They're in Cuernavaca, Mexico. It's about an hour outside of Mexico City, up in the hills, the eternal spring, amazing weather, an amazing, beautiful place. But we were just talking about invading the schools. We've been with the Whosoevers movement, starting through prayer, fasting, and working with an atheist government that doesn't allow the gospel to be in schools, but through your church coming together in unity, praying and fasting, and God opening up the doors through the government to go into the schools, which was the first door that opened. We've been to 14 states. We've been in front of at least 65,000 students, and the majority of them responding to the gospel message and give their life to Christ. The doors opening in the public schools for you to go in and teach the Bible to the students. The teachers, the principals saying, hey, take these kids and disciple them. And then that opened up to Durango. That opened up to Puebla. What other places happened? And then COVID hits.
Yeah, then COVID hit.
So then all of a sudden everything stopped. But God was using different doorways and different opportunities and different paths to get into the schools. It wasn't the same thing every time. And at the break we were talking about, or before the break, we were talking about the formula. We thought we had the formula, and then God allowed COVID to hit, and then our formula was crushed. So then what?
Then honestly, I got discouraged. Like,
Everyone did.
because I was like, now what? We were like planning a lot of tours before COVID hits, but then COVID hits and we were like, okay, now I think we should just stay in our house and, don't do anything.
Yeah.
But then I watched your film, the Full Send film.
In Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah, in Idaho. And you went to the skate parks. Mm-hmm. And that inspired me. Like, I was like, what I'm doing here in my house, I should keep going. We have a plan. We don't have schools here right now, but the skate parks, the kids in the skate parks, they are not scared of getting sick or anything. So, okay, let's do it. So I just grab a notebook and start putting some dates. Like Monday on this skate park, Tuesday on this skate park, Wednesday on this skate park, and just put it on social media and went to the skate parks to see what happened.
What happened?
The kids
They all showed up.
They showed up, and we started doing events at the skate parks. Events. And that thing exploded, but you weren't able to come, so I did it here.
I didn't. You know why I didn't come? Because you had to have a certificate saying that you were
yes.
you got a needle in you. And I don't do that, so I didn't come.
I remember. So we did it, but then the schools start to get open again, but you can't fly because of the thing. And I was like, okay, well, the doors are open again, and I have doing a lot of the events at this point. I don't know how many events, but we had been doing so much. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. But when I was driving to the place where it was going to be the first event of the Whosoevers Mexico in the school, I realized what I'm gonna say, because my story, it's not of a triplets. I don't have triplets.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What's my message going to be?
Yeah, what message gonna be?
Yeah.
So I was kind of nervous, like, okay, what should I share? So I went to the school, I was praying, I was like, okay, Lord, I don't know, probably the story of Ryan, it's the powerful story, and
what am I gonna?
Yeah. So I just show up, and I start, because at the skate contest, I didn't share my story, right? I just preach the gospel at the skate parks, but at the school it was different because we had like, I don't know,
it's an assembly.
It's an assembly. We have like 20 or 30 minutes with the kids paying attention.
Yeah.
And I start telling my story, you know, like I'm an ordinary guy, but with an extraordinary God. And at the end, I say like, hey, you want to receive Jesus? And the kids
came forward.
And it was like, okay, Lord, so you are doing it again.
He's doing it again. Yeah.
Because again, there's no formula. At the first, we had Fermin and someone famous, and we had the government, but then we didn't have the famous guy, and then we didn't have the government, and then we didn't even have the whole
school,
the whole school, and then we didn't have the whosoevers, but again, the Lord was doing.
He was showing you.
It was showing me.
But He does that to everybody. I mean, I could tell you stories and stories again where God started off. Well, even like just really quick, even like when I first started the Whosoevers, we started doing the huge music festivals. 20,000 music rock stars, band, you know, spending like $500,000 on a big music festival and outreach for 20,000 people. But then God started slowly going, now you're in schools. And guess what? The kids don't know you. They don't know you. They never heard of you. These are just, you know, students in schools. And you're going to go in and you're going to get in front of them and you're going to just tell them about me and what God's done in your life. And they're going to receive Jesus. Think about how simple that is. It almost sounds like the Bible. It does sound like the Bible.
It sounds like it is.
The disciples.
Yeah, because what I actually love about all of this is, as you say, is like the Bible taking action, because you never know what's gonna happen, but the Lord, like, you just have to keep walking by faith and the Lord gonna do something. So at that point, I keep going for more schools, and yeah, that was 20,022, and then 20,023, and we are 20,024. But at the same time, we start like, I was having like something in my heart with because we were doing that in the schools, right? But at the same time, in the skate park, I had done like here in Cuernavaca, probably like four or five skate contests. Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. I have a connection with the guys and they connect with me, but how we can build like a bridge between the church and the skate park? Because they will never
go to church.
They will never go to church.
So, wait, stop.
Yeah.
Why won't they go to their church? We were talking about this at dinner at the airport. Remember, we were talking about how it's a whole different world in a church for someone that comes from the street or like, you know, like not a Christian. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the skateboard industry, the skateboard world is very, you know, there's drugs at the skate park, and it's a very tough crowd, you know, come from broken homes and all that. So for them to walk into church and to see people that we think is normal now because we go to church, but they're singing worship songs. Worship's weird to them. People raising their hands, crying possibly from the God touch of their lives. They're like, what is this? And then a guy preaching, stand up, sit down. The whole process of it is weird.
It's completely weird.
So you're going, how do we make the bridge?
And, you know, again, praying, fasting, what you want, Lord, what you want. And then we realized, like, hey, every time we go to the skate park, we gave to them like shirts or tie-dye shirts, and they love. What about if we don't give the tie-dye shirt, but we make the tie-dye shirt with them? What about if we do like workshops with the kids?
Yeah.
We just show up to the skate park and we just spend time with them. And we start doing that, like getting pizza, getting the tie-dye shirts, getting, I don't know, like bracelets, so they can make the bracelet.
Yeah.
And we can...
Just hanging out and having fun.
Yeah. But what I didn't expect is what happened with the volunteers of the church. Because I was thinking in the kids, right? But I was not thinking... I mean, my bad, but I wasn't thinking so much with the volunteers of the church. But what I saw is that the volunteers of the church, like, they start like having fire in their hearts. And because they saw and they knew, like, hey, we can be part of this. Like, yeah, come on, we need hands.
We need help, yeah.
We need help. And they start like, what can I do? And I mean, you just show up and just love them. And then the kids start like talking about their feelings, talking about what they are dealing, talking about their struggling.
With the volunteers and everyone.
With the volunteers, yeah. Right. And right now it explodes. Like, really?
So you had a problem with the volunteers. You have too many volunteers now.
We have too many volunteers. We don't know how to say no to the volunteer right now, because we go to the skate park and we don't want to have more volunteers than skaters.
Yeah, totally.
But it's growing. That's also growing but one of the things that we realize is we have to get in their world and just love in their language. Yeah. So one of the things is before a workshop, because it's not our place, it's of them, right? We just get in there and we just start cleaning, and they see that, like, they are cleaning our skate park, because in Mexico the skate parks are messy, right?
It's like in inner cities, same thing.
Yeah. And they feel the love, and they are like, hey, don't clean up, lady, because sometimes how you connect old lady with a skater, they are like different, totally different world.
Skate park.
But cleaning the skate park, they love, and they're like, no, and she's like, no, let me, I want to clean your place, and they have connection.
Wow.
That's good, yeah.
That is amazing. The connect, because you think, there are a lot of older people, they'll come to us and we'll talk to them and then say, and even us, we try to figure out how do we connect with people in general. Mm-hmm. And here, this older lady from who knows where, not a skateboarder, at the skate park, she's like, no, I want to clean. That right there just shows the love. Clean up trash at the skate park.
And the kids, they love her. Like, because I'm thinking on a specific one girl, one lady, okay? But the kids love her, and they take pictures with, they're like, hey, she's our homie.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yes.
And she's probably stoked. So
yeah, she has his bracelet of the whosoevers, because she's ready every time. Like, she's like, hey, if I go to any place, to the mall, to the market, or and someone asks me about the bracelet, it's an opportunity to pray for them, to talk with them. So she's...
we got to do another trip down. We're planning another trip, but when we come down, we got to come down and reinforce you guys with a bunch of new more products and stuff. When we come, because we haven't traveled. I know you're making stuff here, but also just... some of our overflow stuff, bring it down here, because we could bring in more stuff just as you guys are continuing to do outreach, because you guys are doing all kinds of stuff. It's not only the skate parks, but God has led you even now where you're going into Mexico City. Tell us about that for the last 10 minutes. That's also amazing. I haven't been, but I want to go.
Okay, that's another crazy story.
Yeah.
Okay, last year, me and one of my best friends, we were just like praying, okay, Lord, you're doing this with the schools, you're doing this with the skate contest, with the whosoevers, but what else do you want? Where else do you want us to be? And my best friend, he was praying to build a shelter for kids. So we were talking, and I was like, I don't think it's so easy to just
build a shelter.
So one of my best friends, when I was a little kid, his wife worked in a shelter. So I was like, hey, let me call him and see what
he says.
What he says, if we can learn something. But he said, like, I made a call, and he said, no, it's not with me. Talk with my boss. So we called with him, and he said, hey, come, and I'm gonna speak about it. So we went, and no, it's not easy at all to build a shelter. And we got discouraged, and we were like, oh, no, this is not gonna happen. Okay, but he said, hey, but we do every Saturday, the last Saturday of every month, we do a party in the streets of Mexico City, in the red light zones, like in the the worst sketchy zones in Mexico. We throw parties for the girls that are working in
trafficking and prostitutes.
Yeah, because we can think on prostitutes like because they want to be there, but no. At least in Mexico City, the most of them, they are because they are in human trafficking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
There's a human traffic.
Yeah.
Girls.
Even there is a state here in Mexico that the pimps, I don't know if I can say it. The pimps, they have their own state where they prepare the girls, like from all around the country. They bring it to the
state, prepare them, and then send them out.
They send it to Tlaxcala, that it's the state. They prepare them, and the way that they prepare is because they are not slaves, like they have chains or anything like that. No, the way that they work is they grab them when they are little girls, like 12 or 13, outside of the schools, and they be really, I don't know, like getting
make them fall in love with them.
That's it. Make them fall in love of them, and then when I'm talking about 1 week. In 1 week they do that. Because they say, hey, you're beautiful, you're the most amazing girl I have ever seen. And think about it, there are girls that they have never received a hug, they live with a lot of violence in their houses. Yeah. So in a week, they fell in love, they grab it to Tlaxcala. In 8 months, they are ready, and now they return to Mexico City, and now they put it to work.
Dude, that is hardcore, man.
But we are throwing parties to that girls.
So now you guys are throwing parties to the girls on the block.
On the block,
the pimps are there too. You said.
Yeah, the pimps. The girls are walking. They are working in the street, and we came to them and we're like, hey, do you want to come to our party? We have lasagna, we have enchiladas or something like that. We want to paint your nails, and then we make a raffle for them so they felt love. And just that they know, like when they ask, like, why you are doing this? You know what? Because love has loved us so much that we want to love you. This is not because we love you, but it's the Lord.
It's because God loves you. Yeah.
And the girls, with the time, they are trusting. We're building trust with them. Yeah. And after the time, they gave us their real names because that's something important. They never gave the real name at the beginning, but then you realize they are trusting in you. And then they gave you their phone number, and then, so that's pretty much.
That is so amazing. And you guys go there once a month down there?
Once a month, and the goal is that some of those girls, like they arrive to a shelter at some point.
Yeah.
But we have to be really careful.
Yeah.
Like in the party, if they ask like, where are you coming? Oh, no, we're just a group of friends that come to make this party for you.
Yeah.
We're not from any place.
Yeah.
But after the time, if she trusts in us, she can know like, hey, we have a place. You can learn to another job. You can learn like English. You can learn to finish your studies.
Yeah.
And
the opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, because the goal is that they could get out.
Wow, that is amazing, beautiful ministry stuff. So, to sum it all up, because we're coming to the end of the show, schools right now, for the Whosoevers movement, you're doing how many schools a year right now?
I'm doing
just on your own.
At least 4 schools per month.
4 is like around 24 schools, something like that.
Yeah, 24 schools
a year. Plus you have skate contests, skate parties.
Yeah.
And then you're going down once a month to the inner city. So you are busy. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Dude.
What an amazing opportunity. And it all started, well, there's more to the story. You're going to have to, if you haven't heard his testimony, look up on my radio show and the podcast, you'll find out his testimony. But after you encountered God, it was a journey to lead you to a moment to where you ended up getting in ministry. But then this moment of all this new stuff that happened, this call that you've had on your life, it all started from you going to a conference and having a conversation with me. But that wasn't the door. The door was that you guys came back and started praying and fasting. And then that opened the door for me to come. And then that just kind of opened the door to God use you. God used us to kind of show you how we're reaching the kids. But then that only took you so far because everything had to keep changing every certain amount of years. And then God just led you from there. So it was just like a little jump start of like going, oh, you could reach people in schools, but then you had to figure it out how to do it. And continuing to figure out, it's, I've said this over and over. It's like, you go through different chapters in your life. There's different seasons, and each chapter or each season that you're in prepares you for the next one. But God keeps it interesting, because imagine if you just had the formula. Do you know how bored you would be? Yeah. We need to be stressed out sometimes. We need to be worried. We need to be like, God, are you in this? Are you not in this? This is the faith journey. If we just had the formula, we would be bored out of our mind. It's like you don't want to get vanilla ice cream every time.
Yeah.
You want to get Rocky Road. You want to get, you want to get the rainbow sherbet. You want to try the different. You want to keep it interesting, right?
Yeah, right. Definitely.
You can't just get vanilla ice cream for the rest of your life. You don't want to be doing the same thing in ministry for a while. You'll be bored. I know. With me, I get bored easy. God has to keep switching it up. He has to keep switching it up on me to keep me excited to see what He wants to do next in my life. And the key is to be obedient and just always open for the challenge, what He wants to do. And when you're open and you're available, you will live the impossible. You will see things that you could. Can you imagine like 10 years ago if I were to tell you you'd be here doing this?
No, I was thinking about it. Like even 10 years ago, I was in the church, but I was not even connected with anything about the skateboard world.
And you're a skateboarder.
Yeah, because
you're a real skateboarder.
I mean, when I arrived to the church, I just quit about everything. I thought, hey, if you're at the church, you have to be boring. You have to, now you only have to grab your Bible and lose about your style.
Yeah.
And then the Lord says, no, sir.
Like, I'm using all that.
Yeah.
And that's what you're using, which is to bring people to God over and over and over. All right, man. Jesser however you want to say it. The correct pronouncing is Jesser. Jesser and what?
Jesser Gaona.
Find him on social media. He runs the Whosoevers Mexico. He's also he's part of the Whosoevers in the main Whosoevers platform. He's on the Whosoevers as well. He's on our website. But he actually runs the division of Mexico, and not only Mexico, but you oversee pretty much all of South America, Central America. So anything we're doing there, you kind of got this whole from from south of the United States all the way down to Chile. You oversee that whole, area. So big thanks. Thank you for always being amazing. And you're my friend. So, it's awesome. I'm stoked. I was excited to come see you and hang out with you. I found this taco shop in the Mexico City airport on my layover, and I'm like, oh man, where is Jesser, dude? Look at this Mexican restaurant. Dude, it looks amazing. And I'm trying to get my phone working to text him because none of my texts are going through. And then all of a sudden I hear, hola, señorita.
Hey, disculpe, señorita.
Excuse me, señorita. And it was the voice, and it was him. And we ate tacos. All right, man. Love you. Thanks for being on the show. Peace.
This has been The Ryan Ries Show. To connect and find out more about Ryan, click on ryan-ries.com. Check us out next Saturday at 9 p.m. for The Ryan Ries Show.